Hey guys, today we're taking a look at my Horus Black Flame Dragon deck. Now really this is a Horus deck, but it's also more of just a regular dragon deck to kind of just implement a bunch of cool dragon cards that I enjoy and, do some of the lock, but it's not completely focused on the Horus lock. You could definitely make a deck that's more focused on the lock, and I might do that at some point. If you're not as familiar with this deck, Horus is basically a level up card that he levels up and he can start really annoying your opponent's spells. So it starts out with the level 4 version, then the level 6, and the level 8. We have 3 of the level 6 version. The level 6 versions can't be affected by spells, which is very, very nice. Then we have Mass Dragon, really good in this deck because you want to, tribute out Horus and bring him out. So a card like this that kind of gives you another special summon can be very nice and lets you get out the lower level dragons to activate their nice effects. And then we have Alexandrite Dragon, powerful dragon to go up at the start to kind of roll over your opponent and also stall out for a little bit. Then Blizzard Dragon, very good in this deck. Again, 1800 beater and also has a stall effect, which is great in this type of deck for getting out Horus. And then we have Horus LV4, so not, an amazing card, but really you'll use this to just special summon the next version of Horus. And if you have Solidarity up and you can roll over your opponent, you can special summon him the normal way, which is really, really nice. Then we have Dragon Flyer, a nice dragon type tuner that we have access to with 1500 attack, which is perfect, so he can get out with Mass Dragon and allowing you to increase the levels on the field so you can bring out 8-star, 7-star Synchros very nicely. And then Horus level 8, the big guy you want to bring out, he basically can just negate spell cards. So once you have him and you can lock down your opponent, he's a 3000 beater on top of that, so it gets very annoying for your opponent to deal with. Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon in a dragon type deck, just an obvious choice. One Exploder Dragon, really nice effect to be able to destroy one of your opponent's monsters easily, and can be brought out with Mass Dragon whenever you need it. Divine Dragon can be very, very nice because you can dump stuff in your graveyard and then recycle from your graveyard so you can get certain cards back. Very good combinations you could do with that. And then one Strong Wind Dragon. So this one, single tribute nice monster, so it can't be destroyed by battle with a monster that's 2400 attack, which is just an interesting effect. But also the big part about it is that it gains attack equal to the tribute monster that it's used for if it's dragon. And then it does piercing battle damage. So overall, it's just a really, really good card, and I'm surprised it has 2400 attack with how good its effects are. And then we have one Dread Dragon, just allowing you to search out from your deck, and also a tuner you have access to. So now for the spell cards, 3 MST, 3 Solidarity, using all dragons, so with Solidarity, we're able to get a lot more, attack on the field, which is very important because you want to stall out for Horus, or just try to roll over your opponent. Then 2 level ups, very important because Horus activates on destroying by battle, so you really don't want to wait for that. You want to be able to get him out more quickly, which is very useful. Then Swords of Revealing Light, very important to have some stall in this deck to get out Horus. Dark Hole, 1 Dragon's Mirror because we're doing a lot of dragons and using a lot of stuff to the graveyard, so this gives us access to 5-headed dragon, which is definitely a nice play you could do later on in the duel. Then we have 1 Book of Moon and 1 Level Modulation. Level Modulation, definitely a risky play that you can do, but allowing you to special summon one of your Horuses from the graveyard, it is very, very nice. It can't use its effect during that current turn, but you can just wait, and you'll be able to lock down your opponent very nicely, especially due to the fact that you have things that can get Horus to the graveyard. For the traps, we do have the staple ones, but we also have Safe Zone. I want to quickly talk about this. So you use Safe Zone on a Horus level 8, and you basically create, kind of a lock. Your opponent's going to have a lot of trouble because they won't be able to use MST. So it's going to lead them to having to deal with some annoying situations. You can also run Royal Decree, which is the other kind of version of the lock. So definitely a few choices there, and I'll talk about that in the side deck. So now for the extra deck, going to have mostly dragon types in the extra deck, so we won't run in the way of Solidarity. Queen Dragon, always a great choice, so we're running 2 of that. Leviathan Dragon, always a great level 3 monster. 1 Zenmaines in case, obviously he's not a dragon. Gagaga, Exciton Knight, and Silent Honor, All not dragons, but again, just situational choices that if you need them, you might as well have them in the deck because there's not many other dragons that you really have a reason to run. But you can still put in, more copies of other cards in the extra deck if you don't want to run those cards. The Synchros are all dragons, 2 Scrap Dragon, Stardust, Red Dragon, Black Rose. Trident has a really interesting effect, so that can be a good card. Iron Chain also, and 5-headed Dragon. So mostly stuff that doesn't run in the way of Solidarity. So now for the side deck, again, side decks in my videos are just recommended cards. It isn't a side deck for matches. These are cards that I want to suggest to you guys when you're making your own Horus deck that maybe you should think about putting in your deck. So Jinzo kind of does the same thing as Royal Decree. Get out Jinzo and Horus and you're going to do some great things. Horus' Servant can protect your Horus, kind of slow though, kind of annoying to use. You can combine this deck with ninjas to get out Horus. It's an interesting kind of alternative you can do. You can also put in White Dragon Ninja to protect monsters as well. So those 2 ninjas can be very effective. Tempest, if you're running like a Wind Horus build, you can use this card to kind of search out Horus, which is nice. Destiny Hero Plasma is another way that you can kind of lock down your opponent because you're able to negate effects, which is very, very nice. You can, if you have things to negate effects on top of Horus, your opponent won't be able to do much. If you run like more 6-stars, you can run Heretic Dragon King and he can get out Horus, so that's another interesting thing you could do. You can also run this deck with Vylons as another kind of interesting build to lock down effects. Messenger of Peace, another alternative to wait until you have what you need. Circle of the Fire King is really good if you want to recycle things from the graveyard. It's very, very nice, so you can keep getting what you need. Gold Sarcophagus can be a good choice in this deck to search out what you need. Like I said before, Royal Decree plus Horus equals Insane Lock. Cards that kind of deal with monster effects, Divine Wrath, Breakthrough Skill, Fiendish Chain, all that stuff will be very, very useful for this deck. You can also run like Trap Stun, Forbidden Lance, a lot of stuff to deal with traps. It's up to you. You really want to have some way to deal with traps on top of the Horus lock, so you really are dealing with their spells and traps. So you really don't have to deal with anything but monster effects, and then you can also run things for that. So that's my Horus deck. Like I said, more of a dragon-based deck, not fully reliant on the locks. But again, people like dragons, so I wanted to run, kind of more of a just dragon Horus deck. But if you guys have your own Horus deck, post below, let me know in the comments. You can make suggestions for me. Maybe you have cards that you use in your deck that you just want to tell me about, but post below, let me know. But thank you guys for watching. I'll see you later.